Hello, my esteemed fans, viewers, and listeners all over the world. This is TBVI Channel 1, and I still remain your friend, Associate Peters. You're welcome on today's edition on Biafra Discourse. Today, we are privileged to have a very important personality. He's a doctor, a professor, and as well an evangelist. He's embodiment of knowledge, and we have brought him today to discuss Biafra. Join me to make welcome Dr. Agbo. Sir, it's a pleasure to have you on this program.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
We have heard so many things about Biafra. We would like to understand who is a Biafran.
Thank you very much for that question. The question of who is a Biafran will be dependent on how you look at it. But basically, the word Biafra, a lot of people do not really know. I read two perspectives as a researcher that gave me an insight. One is a book, Biafra on Nigerian Presidency, What the Igbos Want, written by Emeka Adolf Emekesiri of solicitor of England and Nigeria. And another book was a book written by Catherine Acholon called They Lived Before Adam, Prehistory of the Igbos. They've never been ruled. So if you look at the word Biafra, they said from Emekesiri's book, it looks like the word has a biblical origin from Ephraim, Be Ephraim, coming from the tribe of Joseph, who had two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh. So that is one aspect, one angle. The other one from Kathleen Acholano's book is Biafra, Afra, the home of the God-man. Biafra therefore becomes Obi or Be Afra, which is the home of the God-man. And it's no longer in dispute that the world agrees that Africa is the home of the human race. And it has also been established that sub-Saharan Africa is the very first place where you had the very first man. And so if you have Afra, which is actually what they said is from the word Afra that they got the word they gave to Africa. So it's from Biafra that they gave to Africa. That's why no wonder one man wrote a book he called In Biafra, Africa Died. And so a Biafran is somebody who is within that territory, at least within that territory that we would call today the Southeast and the South-South, because they were the original Biafrans when the Republic of Biafra as a state, of a modern state, was first discussed or was first established or announced on May 30, 1967. But if you look at the Portuguese map of Africa that was produced in 1492, there was a vast area there named Biafra. And so this is a territory, but that territory has shrunk now to the people that you have in the South-South and in the Southeast. And the people that come from these places, they can be in any other part of the world. So these are the people that are called Biafrans.
Okay, the Northern youths have asked the Igbo people to leave the North. Currently, from the news we are gathering, they have defined the kind of Igbo which they have asked to leave the North. They have described some as Igbo Biafrans and the others as Igbo Nigerians. From your own opinion, who is an Igbo Biafran and who is an Igbo Nigerian?
That is, the distinction is very reductive. The distinction is very, very reductive, because the truth is that the Igbo Biafrans are those who are living in Nigeria, in the Biafra land, Southeast, South-South. The Igbo Nigerians are those who are living maybe in Western Nigeria and Northern Nigeria. There are also Igbo Biafrans living in America, living in Cameroon, living in the Arctic region, living in Russia, living in Saudi Arabia, living in Sao Tome and Principe, living in Canada, living all over the world. So it's for me, that distinction is, I think they have found out that the statement they made originally was idiotic, because at the end of the day, there is nowhere in the world where somebody will wake up one morning and tell one group of people, one tribe, and if that tribe happens to be the Igbos, the Igbos, the antecedents, the brothers of the Hebrews in Palestine, if those people are the ones they are telling to move, then when you tell the Igbos to live anywhere in the world, what you are trying to cause is a serious crisis. Because we are a people scattered all over the world. And so they have found out that the original statement was foolish. Because number one, this is 2017. You can't wake up in the morning, one morning, and just because you are playing politics, you tell a group of people to leave your territory. With Igbos having 44 trillion naira investment in the north, and you tell them to leave. It's not possible. You don't even make that kind of announcement. Neither the UN Secretary General, not even the President of America, the Prime Minister of Britain, or even Osama bin Laden could have made that kind of announcement. So the announcement looked foolish in the first place, and I think they are trying to edit it by saying that there are some people who are, of course they know that even when the Republic of Biafra comes, I didn't say if, I said when it comes, some people who chose to remain there and be doing their legitimate business, they will live there and be doing their businesses, and they will obtain visas as people who are living in Nigeria. And when they want to come to Nigeria, to Biafra land, they will come to the Republic of Biafra. And when they want to go to Cameroon, they go to Cameroon. When they want to go to America or Britain or Canada or Saudi Arabia or anywhere, or Egypt, anywhere they choose to go in the world, even if they want to go to the moon, they will go and they will return to where they are. So I think they are trying to edit. They found out that the original thing they said was very foolish, and that they know the world is not going to stay hands akimbo and watch them chase a group of people out, because they know they don't have any rights to do that in culture and international law. This was not 1964 when the Northern Parliament was making in the Northern Parliament, they were making announcement and doing a debate about how to tell the Igbos to go. It's all there in the records that they told them they must leave, that what brought them here is colonialism, and that since colonialism has ended, everybody should go back to their place. And that's what began the pogrom of May 29, 1966, that eventually culminated in the war. They found out they can't do that again. The times have changed, situations, conditions are no longer the same, and they felt it is better, instead of looking very stupid and looking foolish in their comments, they would rather edit it by saying there are Igbo Biafrans and Igbo Nigerians. That's my opinion on this.
So are you like saying that in some way that the northern people are beginning to acknowledge that there is a people called Biafrans that are in Nigeria, and some of these Biafrans are resident in the north? Or are they beginning to come to the reality of the fact that someone can actually be a Biafran citizen and also a Nigerian citizen, irrespective of the tribe that he is from within the Nigerian context today?
I think your comments is both. Right now, there is a case going on in courts in Owerri, filed by the indigenous people of Biafra, led by the Supreme Council of Elders since 2013, who activated a clause in our constitution that we have a customary government. And on behalf of that customary government, the Supreme Council of Elders went to the Nigerian court, the Federal High Court in Owerri, and filed a suit on behalf of the indigenous people of Biafra who survived, who did not get consumed in the pogrom, in the Holocaust that hit us in 1966 to 1970. They filed a case on their behalf, and that case is running now, and the Attorney General of Nigeria has been appearing in court. And if you look at that, when you come to court, they call a case, and then the Attorney General picks it up, and then the court clerk announces the case. You know, the implication is that what you are saying is, wow, we recognize these people. They are a people, indigenous people of Biafra versus Nigeria. That case is on now, FHC stroke, OW stroke, CS stroke, 192 stroke, 2013. And it has been going on. So the reason why I refer to it is that technically what they are doing is that they have recognized that there is a people called Biafrans. Whether they like it or not, whether they are in Nigeria or whether they are in anywhere, they have recognized that there is a people called the indigenous people of Biafra. And so this idea of saying there is a Biafra living in the north and Biafra that should go is just because, of course, they know this editing. this editing of position is economic. They know that assuming every Biafran should leave the north without one exception. If one Biafran remains in the north, they must survive. But if every Biafran in the north leaves, they know that is goodbye to the northern Nigerian economy.
Okay. Having said all this, you have seen some agitation here and there, so many factions of the Biafran agitating groups, and different ideologies driving these different pro-Biafran groups. In summary, what can you make of that? And from your own conclusion, from what you've seen so far, which approach among them should be best for the Biafran people to achieve their aspiration for self-determination, considering all these various groups? You have seen our youth on the street protesting. You have seen some of them sitting at home expressing their opinion on their rejection of the state called Nigeria. Some are going to court through legal process, some are in the United Nations, some are also engaging in the current political struggle, while the others are saying no to anything called politics in Nigeria. From all this, it looks cacophonic, but from your own perspective, how can you put them all together?
Thank you very much. When I remember the nature of our people, the Igbos, when I remember our nature as egalitarian people, as people who fears no God, the Igbo man is the only person that can condemn his God if the God is not doing well. He will go and throw the God away and invent another one. That is technically speaking. But I know that the Igbo man as a Igbo is a God person. So our nature as egalitarian and republican people is what is causing all this. But the truth is, if you have any group or anyone who does not want to unite with anybody, then it means that group or that person is doing his own thing. And if you say you are doing your own thing, there is something you are hiding that you don't want somebody to know about. And if there is something you are hiding, then that means there is some personal gain you want to get from the struggle. Otherwise, there should be no reason why the different groups cannot meet together and take one position that is legitimate, that is diplomatic, and that is necessary. Having said that, I want to say that it is not unusual within our climb, therefore, within the nature of our people, to have people have different groups. But what is unusual is the fact that we need to gather together and begin to pour our water inside one basin so that it can generate the right type of attitude for all of us. And so I believe that there are various ways we can achieve our freedom. And at least I will mention one that is not part of our consideration, and that is armed struggle. After the Sudanese have been in armed struggle for over 20 years, they still came back and took part in a UN-sponsored referendum after a peace deal that was signed in 2005, leading to the UN MIS, what they call United Nations Mission in South Sudan. So one way of achieving this is through armed struggle, but which everyone here appears to have ruled out. It's not, number one, is not going to achieve it. Number two, it will not be necessary in 2017, in the 21st century, because there are conventions that you can follow. The next option is in Abuja. And I want to refer all those honorable men. I want to put the honorable in quotes, because I'm finding it difficult to really know that they are honorable. Because the country is burning, and they are keeping quiet and just collecting sitting allowance. In 1992, the Czechoslovakian parliament saw that their country was about to ignite and catch fire. They didn't want anybody to die. They didn't want to sit down in the parliament and be collecting money. So they went to the parliament and voted and divided the country into two, Czech Republic and Slovak Republic. And by January 1993, the two nations came into being. And so the second option is for the National Assembly to vote. Because anybody who looks at the Nigerian state knows that it's just falling apart. And all that we are doing is to see whether we can stop collateral damage. And so the next other option is for us to link up with all our neighbors, the Yorubas, the Hausa Fulanis, the Middle Belt, or what you call the Middle Belt Federation, or the Lower Niger, and the Odua people. And we together crashed this ship called Nigeria. And you find that example in the Soviet Union. In 1989, when everybody saw that the Soviet society could not survive, the Soviet Union just came tumbling down because there were 15 republics in the Soviet Union. They started pulling out. In fact, the first 3 to pull out were Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. The 3 federations that were forced into the Union in 1940 by Joseph Stalin. The rest started in 1917 after the socialist revolution that occurred. So when they found out that this republic could no longer hold, they just pulled out, and the biggest and largest country in the world that had 3 votes in the UN, it collapsed. Nobody fought a war. Nobody went to a referendum. So that is one of the options. And the other option, which I will call the last option, awaiting us here, is for us to have a referendum. But my only problem is that those who are shouting referendum don't understand what it means. You can't get a referendum on the street. You can have a mass movement of 50 million people that can march from here to New York, or to Washington, or to the UN Secretary General's office, and still they will not get a referendum. Why? You need to organize yourself and have a government that will midwife the referendum. A referendum is passed by a government. When South Sudan became an independent state on July 9, 2011, there was no election to elect a president for South Sudan anymore. Why? There was already a government in place, a de facto government, on the basis of which South Sudan became, the referendum was organized. And so this is why the only option, except Anambra State wants to seek independence, or Enugu State, or Abia State, or Imo State, want to seek it separately. If it is to be sought in Biafra land, as in Southeast, or South-South and Southeast together, there must be a government that the world will listen to. There must be a government that the Nigerian state will listen to, that will follow laid down constitutional and legal means, because referendum itself is a legal request. So if you ask for a referendum, there are legal processes you need to follow to be able to get that referendum done. And if you don't have it, nobody will listen to you from now till the year 3000, because the world must be able to know that you can be governed, that you are governable, that you are not a, and we don't want to have a pariah Biafra. We don't want to have a Biafra that 20 million countries will recognize, and then 1 out of the 5 permanent members of the United Nations will veto his position. If we want to have that kind of country, then we should go ahead the way we are going. Otherwise, the only option on ground now is the customary government that is set up by the Supreme Council of Elders. Because the customary government is according to the Constitution. If you go to Section 275 to Section 282 of the Nigerian Constitution and Section 315, you will see that there are customary laws that can be activated. Because the people who package, I love the Nigerian Constitution because you can use it to do anything you like. You can use it to turn a man into a woman, or use it to turn a woman into a man. Anything is possible within it. And that's what the North saw. The North saw that there is a Sharia recognition in the Constitution. So they now went and activated the 12th Northern government, went and activated the Sharia legal. Sharia is not just a religious code, it's a legal code. It's a legal code. So, and they activated it, and they're now using the money from the government, state governments, to sponsor the Sharia legal system. We can do the same thing here and sponsor customary bills in our houses of assembly. Look, there is nothing that stops Anambra state government, Abia state government, Ebonyi state government, Imo state government, Enugu state government from forming an economic union, and they pass it as a law. The houses of assembly within it can pass that as a law. It is legal, and no government in Nigeria will quarrel with it. The worst they can do is they take them to court, and they will go and battle it out there. They can form a legal union, and as they are passing it, is a bill passed by the House of Assembly, recognized by the Constitution. But our people are not being smart. Let us be smart, so that's why I go to anywhere I like as a Biafran, because I'm in court with the Nigerian state. If you do anything to me, that's sub judice. All these people on the street don't understand it. They think that once you mention Biafra, It's a psychological thing, and you think Biafra will be collected from the street. Nobody will give you that. And so this customary government is the option that is available for now, except the Odua people and the Middle Belt and the House of Fulani. All of them agree that we should crash this Nigerian state. Together, we'll crash it and everybody go their way. Because originally, before 1914, we were separate.
So, from your opinion, from what is happening right now, it seems that Nigeria is drifting closely to what is similar to what happened in Russia, and that is the Soviet Union, where each federating member started pulling out on their own. And you have now seen the Yoruba people on their own side saying that they want to pull out. There's some publication out there where they're saying they want to pull out from the entire system and they are tired of Nigeria. And some part of the North are also of the same opinion. Now, from what you've just said, so I want to just narrow it down somewhere because we are coming to the end of this program this morning. The Biafran people whom are at the forefront of challenging the system called Nigeria today to bring it down or to pull out from it. Now, do you think that the Biafra people have not done enough to go deep down into this other federating unit of Nigeria to convince them to just pull out from this system? Because it doesn't seem like the Igbos can just wake up one day and declare secession like that without others giving their own support. Because we understood what happened in the past when Ojukwu tried to strike a deal with the Yoruba people through Awolowo. We saw what happened. He went back there and collided with the North to fight against the Biafran people. So some people are of the opinion that Biafrans should just not try to associate themselves with other tribes and just try to pull out on their own. What are the possibilities?
That is why I said we can pull out on our own. The reason why I said if we want to collapse the ship together, we can do it together. But if we want to go out, we can go out on our own. But you see, the going out will have to be organized. It has to be peaceful, and it has to be legitimate, diplomatic, and you move out legally.
Through
a referendum.
Okay.
But the referendum would have to be organized. The referendum is given to a government. A referendum is not given to a political party. You can't give referendum to UPP or PDP. You can't give referendum to mobbing, movement of Biafrans in Nigeria. You can't give a referendum to IPOB. You can only give referendum to the customary government. If the customary government is now established all around Biafra land, you can't have a referendum until there is a defined territory where the referendum will take place. You can't have a referendum until there is a government that will take the referendum. You can't have a referendum until there is a commission that will take care of the referendum. You cannot have a referendum until there must be a bill passed within that government. Those people that want to have a referendum is not. People should wake up. People should wake up. This is malaria dream. They should wake up and begin to do what is right. If we do what is right, we will exit. We will prepare both economically, politically, and spiritually to be able to exit. There are federal workers. Have we asked which government, which structure is earning money that will make those federal workers to transit into the Biafran state and still remain Biafrans and still remain workers? We have not asked those questions. And all we are saying is, we go. Even if they give us referendum tomorrow, what plans have we made? Governance requires thinking. Governance, I don't want us to behave like what happened in Julius Caesar, Gina the poet and Gina the conspirator. By the time they killed Gina the poet that was blessing the society, they thought they were killing Gina the conspirator. But that is the nature of a mob. I don't want us to act with mob mentality. If we cannot, there are discussions going on. I remember, I don't want to mention names, but I remember talking to one of the top echelons of the Afenifere, and I told him, I said, look, in 1967, we fired the first shot. You people should go and fire the next shot now. Because I know you have your coat of arms, you have your airtime, you are just waiting for something to happen to this stuttering ship so that you pull out, but you don't want to do it because of the little things you are getting. I asked him, do Oduduwa's children need the Hausa Fulani to survive. And he said, capital no. I said, so what is all these things that will appear that they thought that when they hoist SL Akintola on the west in 1964, 65, that they would take over the region. But that didn't happen. And it failed. So if we can link up with other people to have the same grace and strength of character to say, no, we don't want anymore, then our option is a referendum. But a referendum is not collected on the street.
It's a pleasure having you on BVI Channel 1, and I hope we are going to have you some other time. Thank you for coming.